There's this common behavior in basically all people who just start a full-time job or people who have been working a full-time job. And what I've come to realize personally is that this certain behavior that people who start jobs develop is actually a silent killer in your life, and it's actually what's making you feel so overwhelmed and drained and like you don't have the energy or time to do anything else with your life other than your full-time job. One of the first things that people do when they start a full-time job is that they stop everything that they're doing, including me. I did this exact same thing. We get so overwhelmed with our new 40-hour commitment, our new 40-hour-a-week commitment, that we essentially stop doing everything except for eating, sleeping, and working. And if you feel like you can relate to this, let's try and look at how this behavior is having a real impact on your life. Okay, so let's think of this particular scenario. Without other habits, when work feels bad, our whole life feels bad. Let me break it down even further for you guys. If we invest all our emotional energy into work and work feels bad, then our entire life feels bad because all of our emotional energy is invested into work. It is sort of like having all your eggs in one basket, that kind of situation. And trust me, I've experienced both sides of the coin, putting all my eggs into the work basket and then slowly, as I start my full-time job, which I started in September, learning to divide up my eggs and put them in different baskets. Let's look at a different scenario. And in this scenario, we did not put all of our other habits on hold because of our new 40-hour time commitment. Now our emotional energy is dispersed amongst a variety of activities. In addition to our job, we have other habits going on. In this sense, when work feels bad, you can look to the other things that you have going on in your life and still have this overarching good feeling about how your life is going and the trajectory of your life. Okay, so let's use me as an example because I feel like my specific scenario and how I coped with this will be really helpful for you guys. So basically when I started working, I essentially dropped everything else. I stopped working out, I stopped journaling, I stopped meditating, and I completely stopped dedicating any time to YouTube or documenting whatsoever. So no wonder I started to feel kind of bad, and I felt a bit like this underlying anxiety all the time. I convinced myself that work was so tiring to the point where I didn't have the energy or time to do anything else when I got home. All I did when I got home was sit on the couch and watch TV, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is completely valid for some people, but for me, I knew that I needed something else aside from just watching TV that would help ground me in my life outside of work. I knew that watching TV wasn't going to be enough for me to reflect on my life and be like, okay, I have things outside of work that are making me feel good. So instead of watching TV, what I actually should have done was meditated or journaled for my personal experience. In that way, the side effects of my job, like tiredness, did not control all aspects of my life. But for example, for me, if I kept just watching TV, for me, that was an indicator that I was letting the side effects of my job, tiredness, control what I did with my other free time. And in that way, subconsciously, work was infiltrating all other times and aspects of my life. So journaling and meditating actually allowed me to reconnect with my habits and reconnect with my personal life and kind of push work away just to remind myself of what my life is like outside of work. As you can tell, managing a work-life balance is so much more than like a slogan or that image of the balance that we all see. It runs deep into the kind of practices that you implement in your life, which allow you to disengage from your work. Because you have to make sure that these practices that you're implementing outside of your work aren't dictated by the side effects of your work itself. So for example, if your habit outside of work is watching TV, but if you're only doing the watching TV because you feel like you have no energy and you're too tired and that's all you have time for, then think about if that's a habit outside of work you actually want to pursue. Whereas for example, just say you wanted to do yoga after work, are you doing yoga because you're too tired from your job? Or are you doing yoga because it is something you enjoy separately and you want to maintain that habit no matter how work is making you feel? Try and choose your habits in a way that will make you really disengage from work. Don't choose these habits as a result of how work is making you feel. And trust me, I know exactly what it's like to be stuck in your head about it. Sometimes, as unfortunate as it is, your mind is just not on your side. You need to work against your mind's persistence, which we all know is extremely persistent. Try and snap yourself out of the mental habit of saying, I do not have enough time, and instead try and notice all the new pockets of time you do have. So for example, for me, what happened for me was that I kept saying, I don't have time, I don't have time. And then slowly when I started to try and change that perspective and instead notice that all the pockets of time I did have, I found that I could script an entire video on the way to work on the T instead of just sitting there watching YouTube. So in reality, there are all these pockets of time, you just don't happen to see them. This one tip has actually helped me drastically, and it is what has got me to script this video and write this video and record this video, and also it's gonna get me to edit this video, because really the impact it had on me is so profound. I was getting so overwhelmed with the fact that I had no time. I was crying about it, I was really anxious. I was like, how am I ever going to achieve my future goals if all my time is dedicated to work and I have no time to pursue YouTube, which is what I want to do? How am I going to manage that? So I guess the brief yet extremely important message of this video is to have your own habit outside of work. It can be as simple as a hobby, or it can be as simple as a side hustle. Not everything that is personal development related has to be such a struggle. Just have one thing that is in your life that is keeping you balanced, that you can look to when work doesn't feel good. Try and make it a habit that is, I guess, providing you with good feelings, a constant positivity, let's say, so that it's something that is really like a rock in your life that you know that you can look towards if you're ever not feeling great. Like, for example, my friend Emma, shout out Emma, and she has this Instagram called Emma Nail Check. I can put it in the description below. And she essentially just like creates nails for a bunch of people who ever need them for events, weddings, etc. But I feel like that is such a good example of a hobby for her, which is allowing her to disconnect from her work because she genuinely enjoys doing these nails. She loves to do the nails. And so it is something that she can look forward to and look towards as something that separates her from her work. So now that I'm dedicated to writing, filming, and scripting again, my work really actually motivates me to maintain these habits. I look forward to when I can finish work because I actually seek refuge in scripting, editing, and filming. I seek refuge in these habits, so I look forward to when I finish work so that I can do these habits. The main point is build habits that make you excited for your life outside of work. Don't let work infiltrate all aspects of your free time. And it can do it in sneaky ways, like convincing you that you're too tired to do anything else. But all of this is in your head. Use that same head to convince yourself that you have all the energy and time in the world. Your mental space dictates your reality, so try to never forget the gravity of that. Whenever you feel like your reality is struggling or you feel like your reality is not where you want it to be, try and look to your mental space and see if there is something going on in your mental space that could be causing your reality to be not optimal. Okay, I'll catch you on the flippity flop. Thanks for watching.